This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first, call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee with your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 an order. Additional terms apply.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours, a music podcast where we chat to a new guest each week, talk about their life and creative endeavours, and talk to them about some of the music they love. Our show works by chatting to our guests about music, but also getting them to make you a playlist of the songs they love. You can find the link to our playlist in the show notes. Welcome to episode 72. I'm your host, Simon Fink. Our guests today are Mr Jukes and Barney Artist. The duo, made up of producer Mr Jukes and upcoming rapper Barney Artist, have just released their first collaborative record, entitled The Locket. In today's episode, we're talking with the guys about the new record, their songwriting process, and how the two ended up bonding over hot sauce. Here we go. Our guests today are an unlikely duo who have come together to release one of this year's greatest hip-hop records. One is a producer and the frontman for Bombay Bicycle Club, and the other is an upcoming rapper in the UK. Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, Mr Jukes and Barney Artist. Good morning, gentlemen.
Hello. Hello. How you doing, man? Thank you for having us.
Absolute pleasure. How are you today?
Good. Nice. We're just chilling, you know.
Haven't seen each other in a while.
I mean, we saw each other literally yesterday.
That's a long time for me.
I mean, this is it. He's getting used to it. It's becoming a little bit clingy. Tiny bit.
Is this the dynamic that's kind of grown over the last 18 months working together that you guys have found that?
No, he just started following me like 5 years ago. I was like, who is this guy that keeps popping up everywhere I am? Like, why? He's like, why is this guy at my workplace? Like, go away. No, I think lockdown's definitely helped us in the amount of time that we spend together. Definitely.
The origin story, I know you just said that this gentleman popped up and started following you 5 years ago. From what I've heard is that it was maybe not exactly outside the window, Jack. Hopefully it wasn't that, but that you came across Barney on a playlist, and then that's kind of where the working relationship came from. Is that right?
Yeah. I had I made a playlist just to test out these headphones that I wanted to buy.
Such a nerd.
And well, the important thing to do when you make a playlist like that is have some tracks that sound phenomenal. But then you also got to do the other end of the spectrum. That's really, you got to test both sides of the headphones. Like, so for that side, this track is perfect. It sounds
it's terrible enough that
perfect. It's recorded underwater.
You don't even microwave. It sounds what on earth? Brilliant.
How did the after working out whether I'm not going to guess whether it was one of the good or bad ones. Yeah. Don't. Good choice on that one. So. How did things play out after that? Was it a kind of reaching out over social media, or was it?
Jack doesn't talk. Jack doesn't talk to poor people, so he got his people to speak to me. Like, I got like a Royal Mail that hand delivered by a butler. Like Jack Steadman has asked for a request
from the office of
Jack. Hello there, sir. This is from basically his A&R at the time. At the record label was a friend of mine, and so he got in contact. I was working in retail. I worked in retail for like 10 years. So I was at work, and I get a call like, there's this guy called Jack Steadman. He wants you to jump on a song, and he's like, he's part of a band called Bombay Bicycle Club. Had no clue what a Bombay Bicycle Club was, but I did a quick Google, looked at the views, and I was like, time to go to the studio, baby. It's time to go. Tired of folding jeans. So I went and like we just absolutely just hit it off, like literally quite quickly. I know that I was like near the end of your God First sessions, right?
Yeah. So I'd made a record with loads of collaborations, but a lot of them were quite, I don't know, fleeting in a way. You know, you'd turn up to a studio, meet someone, shake hands. It'd all be fun and you'd get on well, but then you'd say goodbye a couple of hours later and never hear from them again. Mm. And with Barney, I mean, obviously we both live in London, but also like, as he said, we just clicked and we were instantly just taking the piss of each other, which for me is a sign of a very strong friendship that's about to happen. And kept in touch. And for the next few years, didn't really make much music, but we were just hanging out. Yeah. Which is a nice way to start, I think. Yeah.
It appears, even from the brief time that we've spent together this morning already, it seems like there is quite a good camaraderie, bit of banter between the two of you, which is, I imagine, always good for being creative.
I call it banter. You might call it banter. I call it bullying.
HR has a very different word for it, yeah, but we'll let them do that. It's obvious that it's worked out quite well, because we do have the Locket coming out tomorrow worldwide, which is the collaborative album from both of you. Congratulations, firstly.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It is, I believe, about 18 months in the making from maybe the start of the pandemic. What is it like now finally having, I think there was one delay maybe last month, but what's it like now having the record out?
It's a bit overwhelming. It feels really strange. I think what's great about it, we were finished the making of the album in December last year, finished the recording process. And so what was great is that we had the album, because in the UK, like we had like another lockdown in like December, just before Christmas, and finished in March, April. And so we had the album, and what we didn't realize is that I think subconsciously the album we made was an album about positivity and love and memories and camaraderie and all that kind of stuff. And so we got to really enjoy that as listeners. And so it's been enough of a gap. It's like we're enjoying it again for the it feel like we're listening to it for the first time.
For sure.
And I think it's like a real special record to us, because I suppose the whole idea of the Locket is treasuring memories and family and stuff. And so the Locket itself has now served as a Locket for us to always remember the times that we spent together, especially during lockdown. We formed a social bubble, so we're with each other every day.
It's perfect timing, really, because it's meant to be a very hopeful record, and it's coming out when, for a lot of people, hopefully things are looking a bit brighter, and well, the weather over here is awful, but maybe where you are is a bit better. It's meant to be, everyone out in the summer listening to this record and feeling good again.
It is a fantastic record. There's a lot of 90s hip-hop kind of vibes to it. I was playing it to my brother earlier today, who is a massive hip-hop fan, and he was kind of surprised when I said it was a new artist. He said it had quite a lot of 90s, like almost like a Tribe Called Quest kind of vibes to it. Was that when you guys went into the studio, was it discussed on I know you previously worked together, but this time around, was it discussed on what kind of music you were going to make, or was it just an organic thing where it came out as it did?
Well, when we first met, I think one of the most important things that we really connected on was like our love of like 90s, music, kind of golden age stuff, and like especially that Tribe. Like Tribe was like our big connecting point.
I just Googled hip hop before.
He's like, oh my God, what's hip hop?
That was the first band that came up. It was called a Tribe Called
He said it wrong. He said a Tribe Called Zed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is a Tribe Called West? Like, I was like, what's a Tribe Called West? No, it was, and yeah, so we really connected with that. And so I suppose kind of organically, the first session we kind of had for the record, so we've been friends for like a couple of years and not making music, and then one day I was in the pub and we were like, we should probably do that music thing that we do. Oh yeah, we should probably try and do that. So we went to the studio and Jack was like, I've been making some beats. I want to play some, can I play some stuff? And obviously in my mind I was like, oh my God, this could be terrible. Like he might play me like the worst. It's like pots and pans, do you know what I'm saying? Like, him like rapping in auto-tune. Do you know what I'm saying? Avant-garde, him singing in auto-tune, like just bad stuff, right? But the first thing he played me was Blowing Steam, the instrumental for Blowing Steam, and kind of got to work, and the song was kind of pretty much done in like an hour and a half. Because I'm an amazing rapper, I'm a genius level Jay-Z me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just a little bit just a bit further in love. But no, and then it kind of just formed from there. And so I think we didn't necessarily go in and be like, we're going to make this kind of album. I think it was just like organically our influences kind of all met, whether it was Tribe, but then also, you know, Jack's, you know, background in other music that he's made, and obviously me being a Londoner, it kind of merged into this kind of this album. So yeah.
Is that usually how the songwriting process would work with you guys? Is Jack, you'll kind of come in with the beat, and then Barney, you'll then, after listening to it, come up with lyrics?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time it's just we wouldn't even wait. You'd just be there writing straight away. Almost the first time he'd hear a beat, I've just played it to you, and I turn around to see if he's smiling or like laughing. And he's doing neither. He's already on his phone writing out words. Because I think when you hear a certain sound, it maybe just sparks something in you, and you want to get that down when it's really fresh.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, I think one thing that people might not realize is that obviously Jack kind of focused on the beats, I focused on the raps, but it was very much a collaborative process. So whether it was like me being like, Jack, maybe move that bass here, or take that snare out, or move the thing around, or it's with my lyrics, like I would send my lyrics over to Jack, and like would look at them, and like, I mean, obviously I take the mick out of him, but Jack is like genius level songwriter, and I think I learned a lot in terms of like space and knowing when to say something and like what words sound better in instances. So yeah, it was very much like a real coming together on the entire album.
It sounds like you guys kind of work or mesh quite well together creatively. Jack, I'm curious in terms of, as Barney mentioned before, that you also have quite a bit of a history with Bombay Bicycle Club. When you are coming up with musical writing, what for you, I guess, stands out as a Mr Jukes song compared to like a Bombay song? Or like, how do you, after you've written it, you're like, that's for this project or that's for this project?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So it used to be that it would just all be Bombay. So even though I'm writing a song that's on an MPC that samples a Curtis Mayfield track that should be, you know, a Mr Jukes thing, before I didn't really have this outlet. So that's how the sound of Bombay started to get so electronic and eclectic. And I think now I have this, it's like two different journeys that a song could go. And I think Bombay's become more sort of organic and back to its roots and a bit more guitar heavy, which has been really fun. And on this kind of stuff, rather than having to adapt sounds to fit drums, to fit guitars, you can really just take it in the direction which it kind of wants to be heading anyway, and put samples on it, you know, do loads of the hip hop kind of tips and tricks that you tell me about cutting out things and putting them back in. And that's been really fun. Yeah.
That was my next kind of question, is what do you think you guys have learned from one another? Obviously collaboration is it sounds like it's been a good thing for yourselves and it's an easy thing for yourselves, but sometimes it can be a bit of a hurdles to overcome. What have you learned from one another in terms of working together?
Hey, it's Sharon, and here's where it gets interesting. Raise your hand if you want salon perfect nails for just $2 a manicure. Yeah, me too. With the Olive & June Mani system, you can say goodbye to expensive services that take hours and hours and love your nails more than ever. I would know. I've been doing it for years. Get 20% off your first Mani system with code PERFECTMANI20 at oliveandjune.com/PerfectMani20. That's PerfectMani20 at oliveandjune.com/PerfectMani20.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Well, I'd sort of been making beats since I was at school, but never had an MC write on top of them. So it's really interesting to just to find out about shaping them around the words and giving, like you talk about space in your lyrics, but you need space in the beat as well. And then there's the ad-libs and the extra production, little sparkles, and all that kind of stuff was a whole new world for me.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's funny, I suppose, so I got made redundant from my retail job at the beginning of lockdown. And so this is my first year of like being a full-time musician. And so Jack has been great in terms of like, just like questions about certain things that I didn't really think about, and just him being able to ease me into that. But also just, yeah, kind of, as I said before, like the songwriting element of things, like I just feel really confident, in my ability to write songs. There's a song on the album where Jack sings it, but we wrote it together. And I think even that, being able to be like, we wrote a song was great. And I mean, I definitely got my own back. He had to send me lyrics. I was like, I'm not sure about that word there. Take away that but. I'm not sure about that what. And yeah, so I think, yeah, on my side, it's just amazing to kind of see how Jack maneuvers things and how sure he is of when it works. He knows what it's supposed to sound like, and he goes, no, take that away, put that in. And so it kind of worked out really, really well.
It does sound like, yeah, again, I said it before, but you guys work well together. With this being not like a lockdown project, but it has obviously taken a lot of its shape in lockdown. And even before, as you said, the Locket, it's like representative of like a capsule of time. Could we expect to see further collaborative albums from the two of you working together?
I mean, I think we've already kind of been in the studio making some bits and pieces. I think for me, I love the way that Jack speaks about having like outlets, and a Bombay outlet and a Mr Jukes outlet. I think it's similar for me, where I think my solo stuff, I'm able to kind of go a little bit more, left field with it, maybe a little bit more darker, a little bit more grittier, a little bit more whatever, a little bit more experimental, because I now have this outlet of the happier, boom bap, kind of jazzier stuff that I can do with Jack now. So I think for both of us, I think we'll always kind of return back to this in different forms and different ways.
That's very exciting, very exciting. I wanted to chat as well about one of the singles, Blowing Steam. Is a great track. It's also inspired some limited edition merch from yourselves in terms of the hot sauce.
Yeah, man.
Firstly, where did the idea, in terms of like, because merch these days you can do anything, but who was it that kind of sat down and was like, let's do some hot sauce?
I remember one of the first times we hung out. Was it before we did Blowing Steam? We went to,
I think it was that day.
The Barney's local Caribbean restaurant near his house and ordered some food. And I asked the guy for some hot sauce. And Barney was like, like a bit of spice to you.
I can't imagine that. Jack's the only white guy in the shop. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm bringing this guy, and Jack is white. Do you know what I'm saying? He's not like, do you know what I'm saying? He's not like, he could be, he could be Jamaican. No. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he's white. And so I'm in this shop, and then Jack like doubles down and goes, can I get some hot sauce? So in my mind, I'm like, is he trying to impress me?
Yeah.
Or does he actually?
I hate hot sauce. Crying.
I want him to think I'm cool. I want him to think I belong. No, but like, the guy asked for hot sauce, and even the guy behind the counter was like, all right, that's interesting. Oh, wow, okay. And then I think we both realised that, because I love hot sauce as well, and so we kind of just both bonded. There's actually a hot sauce on our album cover, because the album cover is like everything that we love, and that would kind of help make the album, and there's a hot sauce bottle on the album.
And always in the studio, there's a little collection of hot sauces or whatever.
Yeah. And so then I think Jack came up with the idea of, like for merch, maybe we should do our own hot sauce. And then we kind of worked with a chili company called East Coast Chili in Ipswich, and we kind of went back and forth on ideas and how we wanted it to taste, and we kind of found the Blowing Steam taste, and it's a great hot sauce. Jack's finished his, so he's waiting for more, but I've got a stash.
We'll have to send some over to you.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah, sure.
Please, we would love some over here in Australia. I was going to ask, because I saw that you guys had done your own version of Hot Ones. I wanted to ask how that played out, and whether you guys have a favourite episode of Hot Ones, or whether you would be interested if they ever approached to be on there.
Jack's favourite episode of Hot Ones. Jack's favourite episode of Hot Ones is DJ Khaled episode. But when he loses.
It's like Sriracha, and he's like, ooh, I'm going to tap out.
I think mine's probably either YG's one or probably Gordon Ramsay's one, because obviously like the swearing and like him just like losing and like losing the plot, which is brilliant. So those two.
It is a very good show, and I imagine even from the small snippet on Instagram, I imagine you guys would go quite well if called up and up to the challenge.
We're waiting for the call. I mean, Jack made himself look like Sean Evans as much as possible, just in the hopes of being able to see. I was saying, hopefully, that. No.
I lost my train of thought after that. That was quite a...
sorry.
No. It was good. You've been singing each other all episode, but with no disrespect, Jack, that was Barney definitely got you with that one. That was a Sean Evans burn, a very niche burn, but a Sean Evans burn. With the album, as I said, is incredible. I'm curious, and I'm not sure on what it is currently like in the UK. Can we expect to see you guys, maybe not in Australia, it would be great, but touring behind the record at all?
Yeah, so we actually had our first show a couple of weekends ago at a festival called Latitude, which was the opening set of the whole festival and probably one of the first festivals to be back. So for a lot of people, it was their first gig in like 18 months, which was incredible. And we're going to do a UK tour in November.
Yeah. So UK tour, and then we've got in-stores like this week coming, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of really cool to kind of be back on the road. And I think Latitude for us was really cool because, you know festivals and you know how you never know who's going to be there.
Yeah.
And I think on the way there, we were kind of like, somebody can be like, 5 people, let's get ready for these 5 people to see us and stuff. And like, it was a massive tent, but like literally as we walked out on stage, like it was just like
it was amazing.
packed to the back, and it was just the vibes and the energy, the crowd were amazing. And so it kind of gave us a lot of like, you know, excitement for when we do shows and festivals.
It makes such a difference because you've had this time where lots of musicians have been writing, but without the experience of live music, it can be tough because you feed off that enthusiasm. You feed off the reaction of a crowd, and everyone has their own insecurities, you know. And when you're just writing music without anyone hearing it or without seeing their faces singing along, it has been a bit strange. So playing that first show was like, you remember how much you love doing that kind of stuff.
Amazing.
Was there anything different to, again, not sure what it's like in the UK. We've started having gigs back on here in Australia, but it's like they're all seated. There's no standing, even if the band doesn't kind of suit that arrangement. It's very weird. Was there any differences that you guys found, or was it kind of back to normal, which I imagine would have been nice?
I think, well, there was no sitting and that kind of stuff, but I think we made a conscious effort to kind of make people feel at ease. I think we were, it's very talkative and like very much like with the same way we're taking the piss out of each other, we're doing that on stage. And, and so I kind of think everyone kind of just like felt, our big thing is like, joining the family, like welcome to the family. And I think we kind of were able to relate that to the crowd. And like by the end of it, it was just a real nice reunion of people. And, we got a lot of messages and a lot of videos and all that kind of stuff. And people just said that they felt really, they were happy that was their introduction back into like live shows.
We've got to go on tour. I mean, I really miss traveling.
Yeah, we've got to go on tour properly.
Taking this chaotic relationship to a different country.
Oh my God, just fighting over, oh my Lord.
On a long haul flight.
Just bickering on the long haul flight.
Please, if you come to Australia, do like the regular set, but even just like a in conversation with, because I think that people would pay to see this.
That's a great idea.
I think you're onto something there, mate. You know what I'm saying?
Lastly, we'd usually chat to our guests about what they're currently listening to. Is there anything that you guys are currently listening to that you're enjoying?
I think like the guys, there's a couple people that we put on the album. So the album, we very much we decided that we didn't want anyone that we collaborated with, we had to know personally.
Yeah.
So there's 2 features on the album. There's an amazing MC called Kofi Stone. And he's amazing, so I'd highly recommend you check him out. And there's an amazing rapper called Lex Amore, and she's on the album as well. And so both of them I definitely recommend to go listen to if you like what we do. It's very London sounding, very down tempo, but like great flows, great rapping techniques and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm saying.
Nice. That's I'll make sure that we put those recommendations in the podcast so that people can follow them along and listen. Jack and Barney, thank you very much for your time this morning. I do appreciate it. And the Locket is out now worldwide. Congratulations.
Thank you for having us. I appreciate it, man. That was great.
And that's our show. A massive thank you to Mr Jukes and Barney Artist for their time. The Locket is out now, and we've left links in the show notes if you'd like to stream or buy the record. We also want to give a huge shout out to Shari at Great Company Collective for helping out with today's interview. You can find a link to our Spotify playlist in the show notes, where you'll be able to listen to all of our guests' picks. If you like this show, please subscribe wherever you get your pods and stay up to date when new episodes are released. We release new shows each Thursday and Friday morning, with guest playlists streaming on Spotify at the same time. You can follow the playlist profile on Spotify. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until next week, cheers.